Welcome to the 46th week of Notes from the Field in 2021. I promised you I would read you my newsletters. They come out every Sunday. This one is a few days late because we are very deep in the Lotus and the Lily. This is the Year of the Body, week 46, in which we listen carefully and hear 2021 sing her song. Friends, soul riders, mystics, lovers of prayer, the 12th edition of the Lotus and Lily is now open. After leading 11 groups in this magical process starting in 2010, you might assume that I understand this 30-day process completely. After all, I did write the book. Or you might think that after all this time, surely I'm getting a little weary of leading it, or that the result is always predictable. You would be so wrong, oh, so very wrong. The Lotus and the Lily is a mystical prayer process. And like all things mystical, it's alive. And it leads the way, not me. Each year, the process is a little bit different. That's one reason it is so fun to lead the Lotus and the Lily. Each year, the intensive teaches me where she wants to go, and I just follow. And I'm always just as amazed as you are by the power of this life-creating process. Last November, the tail end of 2020, as we gathered to complete, what a year, it didn't feel sufficient to spend 1 week looking back, as we had in every previous Lotus and Lily. Too much had happened over those 12 months. COVID, quarantine, it was just too much to digest in 7 days. I just instinctively knew, my body told me we needed more time, but I didn't know what to do in those 2 weeks until my dear friend Emma Kupu Mitchell said, I know, let's walk a labyrinth. Emma had just completed Viriditas training on how to lead labyrinth groups, and she had learned how to walk a finger labyrinth. Here's just one example that's offered on the resource page for the Lotus and the Lily. She had learned how to walk a finger labyrinth to look back at the chaos of 2020. Sounded perfect to me. So Emma taught the members of last year's Lotus and Lily Intensive what she had learned, and together we explored how the ancient mystical practice of walking a labyrinth can and does reveal and heal all that wants to be revealed and healed. I was flabbergasted. We were all flabbergasted at how powerful a labyrinth is as a look-back tool. This was the end result last year. It doesn't look like much to you, but this is my entire 2020 on a Chartres Cathedral medieval labyrinth. And I understood isn't the right word. I received the medicine of 2020 by putting on this 11 circuit labyrinth the 11 songs or stories of January through November of 2020. But when Emma and I got together a month ago to record a new video on how to look back on the labyrinth for this year's Lotus and Lily, we discovered all new ways to do it and whole new depths of meaning and possibility. And for that alone, the 2021 edition of the Lotus and Lily would be amazing. But something else happened this year, 2021, that changed and deepened everything. If you have been reading these notes from the fields all year, you know that I created the largest, deepest, most mystical event of my life, the Return of the Witches Jeanne d'Arc listening pilgrimage that just ended in August. At least a dozen utterly miraculous things emerged in that pilgrimage, but there was one in particular that altered forever how I live and how I lead all of my prayer intensives. It's called the Theater of the Miraculous. It emerged when I was joking with Polly Patton Brown, one of the witches' champions, Marguerite Porret's champion, as we were getting ready for Marguerite Porret's event, her moment on the pilgrimage. And I joked with Polly that she was the star of the show and I was just the director. I thought I was joking, but the next morning in my deep soul writing, I realized that wasn't a joke at all. I actually am the director and producer in the Theater of the Miraculous, and miraculous things truly do happen. Now, it took several days of deep soul writing with my beloved Mother Sophia to get my arms even slightly around this mystical way of being and living. It's very important to understand from the get-go that these miracles do not happen because of me. They happen because of you. They happen because the members of the intensive, the community, become a living vessel for the sacred feminine to be present. And then, of course, it's she who does the magic. Now, I recognize this on the page in Deep Soul Writing fairly easily because the entire premise of everything I do as a prayer artist can be stated this simply, but this paradoxically: you are not praying, you are being prayed. You are not praying, you are being prayed. But I had never taken that concept all the way to its full expression as a whole community that isn't praying. It's a whole community that is being prayed. This is how the magic, the miracles, logarithmically expand. So it took, I don't know, about 2 weeks of deep soul writing to begin to articulate what the Theater of the Miraculous is and how it works. I know this is a work in progress, so this isn't written in stone. Nothing in the mystical life is ever written in stone. That's patriarchy that writes things in stone. But here's where I am with it right now. The Theater of the Miraculous. And I present this at the beginning of every prayer intensive. As our community gathers, we become both individual and collective mystical containers for the contained. And she is present, heard, seen, and felt, and unexpected, miraculous conceptions happen. And with those seeds, we also receive the guidance, the grace, the courage, the strength, everything we need to become living conduits to bring our unique and sacred medicine into the world. It is she, the uncontainable contained. We're in deep paradox here. This is mystical paradox. The uncontainable contained, it's she who activates the sacred seed in you, in me, and in us, a seed of the life we're here to live. That's what the Lotus and Lily is all about, right? Awakening and allowing the life that wants to be lived to be lived in and through and as us. This is magic. Very holy magic, and it is the most delicious way to live. When you live this way, you no longer have to think your way through the morass of life. Trying to logically think our way through life hasn't worked for anybody. And so I, for one, am delighted to put down that patriarchal lineal burden and pick up the spiral magic of living in communion and service with my beloved, the divine, by any name or nature you know her. From now on, all my intensives will be offered in this Theater of the Miraculous, and nothing fits the theater more perfectly than the Lotus and the Lily, which has always been about getting off the linear track of setting goals and working to exhaustion to try to achieve them. So whether this is your 12th Lotus and Lily or your first, I do hope you'll come and join the global community gathering to listen on the labyrinth as 2021 sings her song. And once we hear that song and honor that song and integrate the sacred medicine of that song, then, and we need a full 2 weeks to do this, we will be ready to turn and invite the beloved contained to guide us into a full and beautiful expression of the life that wants to be lived in and through and as us in 2022. I'm speaking to you today just 48 hours before the beginning of this 3-day window of the longest lunar eclipse in over 500 years. Everyone is talking about the power of this birth canal. We're in a birth canal. She, who is alive in all, is inviting us to, this is the day, the hour, the moment, the year. Drop your patriarchal thinking and step into communion with the beloved. If you want to join us, the link is below, but please do it right away, because we have begun this process of looking back at January, February, March, and listening to each one of these months sing her song. Next Monday, we will get together and do this incredible process and listen to 2021 sing her whole song. And then we will be ready to create the space to welcome 2022, to lead the way, the magical way, the mystical way, the beautiful way, into the life that wants to be lived in and through and as us. Thank you so much for listening to me read. And of course, you can tell that I digress and I have to show you some of my stuff. So this isn't exactly a verbatim reading of my notes from the field, but it's kind of fun for me to go, oh, and let me show you. I love doing this, and I will come to you every week. But if you don't want to wait till it's available to listen to me say it, the link below to subscribe to Notes from the Field. Let us enjoy the last few weeks of 2021, the year of the body, together, and then step into 2022.